don't look at it as use this one tool and you're going to get rich. Like last podcast, we really were hammering down.
Hmm.
But what it can do is increase in small margins a lot of areas.
It's not easy. That's why we keep mentioning like, AI can't make you $1 million. AI can't do this because although we have tools now, you still need to add a little bit of work.
They're going to put everything into it because they're competing with China. And a lot of that is going to be showing off to investors. So the first stages we're going to see is
Really put hard measures other than maybe customer sat surveys, reviews, things like that, that help you come up with a cohesive plan. So let me show you something I just threw together real quick.
All right, guys, welcome back. I guess this is our fourth podcast, and this is going to be part two of the AI implementation of business because we believed, and hopefully you did too, that part one was very good and the conversation was extremely important. And I just felt there was a lot more to be said because we covered a lot, but obviously the topic of AI is a vast one. And and like I've heard it being analogous to it's the new Google. Like when Google was the big thing, that's the same thing as AI. This is going to be the next step, and I don't want to say like our human evolution, but this is a massive leap that we're taking as humans. So I wanted to just kind of keep covering this topic, and then who else to bring back than these two guys? I'll let you two introduce yourself briefly again. I'll
All
start with
right.
Jared.
Oh, sure. Uh, I'm Jared. I'm an AI contractor and a software developer. Uh, as you heard last time, I'm deeply involved in developing LLMs and certain video models for Meta. So that's me.
Welcome back, Jared.
Thanks.
And I'm Herman Wienen. I am a director for a large IT outsourcing company, a global company. I'm a director of business analytics, and we deal with a lot of metrics, deep dive analytics, and also using AI in a lot of those areas as well. And I used to be work for process engineering group, developing and designing essentially operational flows, conveyor systems, workflow, things like that in some of the facilities at Dell back in the day. I can speak freely now that I don't work for them. But yep, that's my background.
Well, welcome back, Dad.
Hmm.
And then again, my name is Isaac Weenan. I'm the co-founder of Atito Strategies.
Hmm.
And I'm Kelly, and I'm the owner of ITO Strategies. Welcome back. Nice to see you guys again.
Yep. See you virtually. Um, yeah, sorry, I had to. Okay, so last time like I said, we really blanket covered AI and we're showing the future trends and everything of that and like the importance of AI. And we even covered, which I loved, the especially from your perspective, Jared, the beginning of AI and like when it's first started to spawn, you could say, and really populate and become popular. And today I want to shift our perspective on instead of thinking big picture in just the entire market of business
Hmm.
and the implementation of that in AI, and more focuses towards less franchises and more like small business to mid-sized business to even aspiring entrepreneurs, because AI is a term that is probably scary to still hear. And even if you watched our last podcast, you could have walked away like, okay, AI is really only as smart as you can make it,
Hmm.
and it shouldn't be as scary, but still, there's probably a lot of question marks today. So I think a good way to start this would be the question of what do you think the practical uses of AI could be for small businesses? And if you can come up with examples, go ahead and do that. So I'll throw that out there.
So I know you guys are mostly sales focused. Sales definitely has a lot of applications, like you talked about with the automated calls and assistant agents. I've been looking a lot into retail. So Amazon type things. I've worked for Amazon, implementing AI. Did I freeze up here?
No, you're good.
I, sorry, I froze for a second.
No, you're good.
Um, and what Amazon does is ba their AI is basically glorified advertising. And to me, that's not super innovative. You know, you can find your review summaries and product summaries. That's about as far as they've gone so far, is collecting your data and figuring out how to advertise to you better. So I had retail. One of the projects I'm working on getting funding for right now is using the APIs from Walmart and Amazon, and you take all their clothes that they have listed basically, and then you have a model of yourself uploaded, just standing there, and you can try on the clothes right there on the website. I already have this kind of developed, but I don't see anybody in retail using it. The hard part is getting that pitch to a company, because Amazon does have limitations on their API where I can test it, but I can't run it publicly because of their policies. But
Hmm.
um, if I could find a way into one of these companies, like propose it to somebody without getting the concept stolen from me, which I already have the concept built out. I can do these things. It's just a matter of how or who I can sell it to. But I think retail has a lot of potential beyond advertising, and you don't see that really utilized yet. You don't see many products that are actually helpful, um, beyond what Facebook's already had for 10 years, where they can predict what you're going to buy and whatnot by collecting your data. So I think there's a lot more that can be done with it on the retail level, and it's just a matter of people actually attempting to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially for small businesses, the thing is you have to know what your competition's doing at any given time. And even with some of the more recent ones that you can sign up, even, whether it's Chat GPT, you can feed it information, different websites. It'll go out and start scraping for you, and you can pull information from your competitors, right? You just start loading, say, these are my competitors that I have. Let me check out their pricing, right? Let me see what their offerings are. What are their key things? It's actually pretty crazy. So I actually do it for a handful of different crypto groups. I just give my chat the links, and it'll go and it'll pull all the information, and then I'll start asking it key things to do in that information. The same thing applies to, let's say you want to go out and scrape all the general prices from, I don't know, let's say a mechanic, what a mechanic is doing. You can look at your competitors and see, hey, are we overpriced? Are we underpriced? What are our reviews like? Things like that. uh, Even if you can start gathering, like Jared was saying, the key thing is about your people's data and their tendencies and all this stuff that you take for granted, but what they look for, what they like. You can start building certain analytics even there and start kind of figuring out what are they looking for? What do they want? So you can go and scrape through, let's say, your customers. Yeah, what maybe you got a competitor that has really good reviews. Well, go to that review page, take that link, upload it, have it scraped, and then start looking and say, what's the most common thing? Give me 5 categories of what my competitors have, or this other product that I'm competing with, and what am I missing there? And try to see what their strengths are, and see maybe I need to stay in my lane and out of this area, and look at this. So it goes a lot different than what people are afraid it's going to do. At the end of the day, small businesses, most of them are about a person doing work, right? And a person stepping in and actually having to make the food or deliver the food or work on a car or do something like that. And that's where that's not going to be replaced. However, your ability to understand where your business stands in the local competition can be huge, right? I mean, does that make sense,
Yeah.
anybody?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. You touched upon a couple of things that are very important there. One would be data,
Hmm.
the ability to collect data.
Hmm.
Gosh, I'll say is a lot simpler now with AI, and it's an opportunity that even local businesses can take advantage of now.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Whereas, yeah, so whereas it was something a large company could do because they could hire somebody to build these, very complicated systems to keep track of customer behavior and stuff like that.
mhm,
Now it's ever so accessible local to small businesses to take advantage of that so they could start to understand their customer base and what they want as long as well as their competition and to be able to gauge pricing and where they stand in the like you said the local environment, the local business environment that they're in. So I think that's an opportunity that's given to the local space, the ability to do that now.
mhm,
um but yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I was talking to a business owner. He's a
mhm,
mid-sized business owner, and he said something to me. And it again, it seemed like common sense, but it's like I never put it that way. So you would think hindsight bias, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. But it just kind of opened my mind. But he was like the small margins, and now he was talking about profit.
mhm,
So now this can apply to anything, but he's like the small margins matter because instead of just putting all your eggs in one basket, you could say, into just trying to attain one big margin, he tries to allocate different, like when he's doing a strategy and his strategic implementation of whatever he wants, he tries to gain in small margins in all aspects of his business. But what
mhm,
that does is it adds up over time, or not over time, it all adds up to become obviously one big profit margin instead of him trying to dedicate all of his resources into just one little field, per se, marketing, right? Instead of
mhm.
trying to focus on communication, customer relation, whatnot, right? He's just focusing on that. But now
Yeah.
he's like, no, I'm trying to do it every single field. He's trying to just improve efficiency and just make small margins better. And what that has done for him is he's literally told me this will make or break like
Mhm,
$1 million for this guy in a year because it's either he tries to focus all on one, and if for something unseen happens, he's screwed.
mhm,
But when he started kind of allocating it evenly, he started to find a lot of good spread. And what that I got from that as well when applying this to AI
mhm,
is AI, don't look at it as use this one tool and you're going to get rich. Like last podcast, we really were hammering down.
mhm,
But what it can do is increase in small margins a lot of areas. For I want to shout out last podcast how Jared said his wife is like their company. You said they're doing a lot of handwritten stuff still.
mhm,
Like even if you could just make that one little change, from now it's handwritten and everything is just can be uploaded instantly. Even that little level of I cannot speak right now,
mhm,
um, will
Efficiency.
improve drastically. Yeah, I don't know why that word was not coming out for some reason, but yeah, and then the same thing for like communication, customer management, CRM, right? All the way to the reviews as part of that, to marketing, even if you want to do like some type of ads, like small increases in implementations of AI in those areas overall will benefit you more. And
mhm.
instead of trying to hire like some
Yeah.
$30,000 a month
Yeah.
service that'll build you a super complex AI, right? So I think that's more practical for business owners
Yeah.
is to try
Mhm.
to do that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say, that, well, one, there isn't a thing or there isn't a marketer out there that could just change a business overnight or change a business in a small amount of time with, you know what I mean, a marketing strategy or whatever, right? All these things take time. So what you mentioned there is how I like to explain it is solving big problems with small projects. So, that might work for the individual you were talking to, but I think as an overall thought process for businesses in general, or specifically local businesses moving forward into the future, what you need to do isn't, well, what you don't need to do, first of all, is think, okay, this thing is coming. How can I overhaul my whole operation? That's overwhelming, and it's just too much, right? You already got some things going on that at this very moment might not be the best to overhaul everything, but what are the small things you can start to move towards and stuff like that, right? We talk about planting seeds and things like that, and seeds take time to grow and bloom. So it's about looking at your operation. It's about looking at, what you're doing marketing wise, and if anything's outdated, if it's not a big thing, and you can start with the low hanging fruits and start to utilize some systems or AI to get you going in the right direction. I think that's the best bet to go. So that's what you were mentioning, Isaac, and that's how I like to look at it, which, like I mentioned, is solving big problems one small project at a time.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that phrase.
Well, and a lot of times, so when we would do process improvement and things like this and change, we would go in and we'd have to first identify what people's opinions
Yeah.
there versus the actual measurable data points, right? And a lot of times that was easy for us to do. But then when you're dealing with small businesses like a restaurant or something like that, it becomes a little different, right? There's only so many. I mean, you have certain metrics, certain things that are hard measures, but then you can't account for anything other. You can't really put hard measures other than maybe customer sat surveys, reviews, things like that, that help you come up with a cohesive plan. So let me show you something I just threw together real quick, right? While we're talking about this.
Yeah.
Let me know if you can see my screen. Oh, I guess can you see my screen? Hang on. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
All right. So I threw this in four, right? And don't mind all of that. I use a lot of my Chat GPT for Bible studies, so that's why why you're seeing a ton of stuff that's in
Yeah.
here, right? But in 4.0, for example, I went in here, dropped in a local Mexican restaurant, right? And I said, okay, go out there. So it does its own little Google search. It pulls in all this information, positive feedback, areas of improvement, right? Let me see, where did I start this? So I started in 4.01, but that one doesn't have the ability to connect. And so then I switched it back over to just 4.0, and it gave me the overall summary of what this restaurant was. And then you look at areas of improvement, and it says, well, consistencies, say some reviews highlight inconsistencies in food things. And it's like, oh, well, that came from TripAdvisor, right? So that's something for you to kind of look at in your process. It's like, oh, well, how many reviews did that happen? And so you say, of course, it's great to have the positive, but it's the negatives that kill you a lot of times in your reviews. Let me move this so I'm not staring over you guys over there. How about that? Is that better? Yeah, y'all look much better right there. Matter of fact, I can even do this right there. Perfect. Okay. So when you're going down here, you can start asking areas, and I say, well, okay, what are the areas to improve? Right. And this is just a one business local. And this is just a really high level because, again, if you're dealing with all of these reviews, the problem is you don't necessarily have time to go through all of these things for your business. Right. And so you can just do some high level things. It says, okay, issues. Several patrons mentioned inconsistent food preparation. Some dishes are described as dry, overcooked, or lacking flavor, while others are praised. So it's like, oh, okay, this is useful. This is a useful feedback that you get. And again, I didn't have to parse through every single one of these reviews. I just put it in here saying, what do I have an opportunity to improve? It says standardized kitchen processes, conduct regular staff training. This is high level stuff
Yeah.
that would just spew out, right? But you can go in and dig even deeper and deeper into different ways you can do that. Um, let's see. This is the inevitability of what was it? The McDonald's soft serve machine, right? It's never available. But if your customers are going to your location for something specific, and they say many reviewers mentioned that your popular food that they really like, and I've been to this restaurant and their fried ice cream is phenomenal. It is great. But if people are starting to complain about that it's not available when they're there, then guess what they're not going to do? They're just not going to go there, or they're not going to enter your doors. They may call, do y'all have fried ice cream today? Oh, you don't? Okay, never mind. You lost something, right? So there's opportunity there, but you can see quite a few little things. And again, to Jared's point that he made in the last one, GPT is pretty bad about hedging and just putting in a lot of junk and noise in there, but you can still parse through it at a high level like this, and that's good. Even some people, you can go in and say, well, how many did this and how many did that? Even if they're worried about atmosphere and cleanliness,
Yeah.
that's something significant that you should probably consider there as well, right? And Jared, I don't know if you have any inputs on way similar things like this to do for small businesses.
Um, I see what you mean, like what you're saying as far as supporting the business. I've been more thinking about the opposite side of when you're talking about web scraping and pulling data on certain companies.
Hmm.
I'm more thinking along the lines
Hmm.
of this is going to involve cybersecurity to
Hmm.
protect.
No, you're good. You're good, Jared.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Um,
But the cybersecurity,
yeah, I think this is going to do a lot to evolve cybersecurity.
Mhm.
Because everybody's going to have defenses against web scraping. I've had this problem recently where I was trying to build an app where there's a
Mhm.
site specifically. I built a scraper out of Python or with Python
Mhm.
code, so I could pull all of the cards off the site and all of the
Mhm.
data for each one individually, and they have
Um,
something written into the code where it's blocking it. And it does the same if ChatGPT is scraping the web and it sees the site on there, it just bounces over it. And I just looked, and there's already a big market for that. But market to me, one of the biggest markets for ChatGPT right now is anti-ChatGPT. Y'all probably know since you're in college,
yeah.
there's
mhm.
countless AI detection tools now. That's a huge market. Every college, every high school, paying a lot of money for those. And we actually have a friend in Georgetown who she started a company up that I
Mhm.
think it's constant content or something. One of the biggest AI detection tools that all the colleges are using. But
That's awesome.
to me, it's a funny irony that the biggest market is actually
Mhm.
security against the tool rather than application of the tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen on podcasts that's people's entire job is just figuring
Mhm.
out anti-chat GPT and like also the
Mhm.
security aspect of it. That's actually interesting. I haven't even necessarily thought of that. But yeah, and I think it's kind of like it's a silly question you should ask yourself, but as a business owner, you need to either, if you can't be honest enough in yourself, you need to have someone you trust
Mhm.
that's not just a yes man to give your business an audit because before you can answer what AI should I use, how should I use it, before you can even start, you need to just give your business a simple audit and go like, where can I actually apply this that is
Mhm.
practical to me? So
That'll make money. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
if
Mhm.
people are like, if if you, let's say you're a restaurant owner, because we keep bringing up this topic, you can't go like, you know, I need AI waitresses so they can move faster. Like that's a silly thing,
Right,
right?
right. But what would that look like? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But now if you're a restaurant owner
Mm-hmm.
and even something as simple as like an email list or something like that, and being able to email people and talk to them or even answer the call. Something as simple as that, you're like, hey, I can't even answer the call half the time. And
Hmm.
where do you think those people go if I can't answer the call? You think they try to call me twice, three, four, five times? No, they just go to the next business, right? So
Hmm.
even simple things like that, now that's practical. So now you can look, okay, well, what AI can do that? You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the questions you need to really ask and entertain
Mhm.
before you can even step into the world of AI.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I
Yeah.
mean, one of the biggest questions you should ask when it comes to what you just said is how much money do you think you're losing with missed opportunities like that, right? So
Hmm.
when you tie it back to the amount of income you might be losing or potential income that might be losing, it becomes a lot, it becomes a lot more I don't know, I'd say like real. Like you get to really understand, the opportunities that you're missing. But I meant to mention this the other day when we were chopping it up. We were supposed to film this at first,
Yeah,
but I think I think it goes. I think just to deviate a little bit, I think that I want to mention that these decisions are difficult to make, and it's not something that's like, you could just wake up and do it because, when it comes to people's businesses, this is like their kids, their babies, right? It's something you've nurtured, and making decisions like this is hard and it's difficult.
Hmm.
And I just want to recognize that because it might be scary for some people to say that they want to implement stuff like this when they just don't know. Like if you don't know, you kind of get a bit fearful, right? But there's two types of fear. There's like the regular fear that, there's a bear in the distance. You're not gonna go touch the bear. That's the fear that keeps you alive. But there's another type of fear where you're just afraid of, taking a chance or what people might say if you fail and things like that. And that the first one's helpful. That one isn't helpful. So I just want to recognize that to say that, these decisions are difficult to make,
Hmm.
but they're decisions that you have to make if you want to
they're
keep,
inevitable
yeah,
decisions. Yeah.
if you want to keep competing in this in
Yeah.
this ever so competitive business world or whatever, right? So I just want to recognize that because I know that it's not an easy decision to make, but it is something you have to make. So that's why we're talking about it, and we're hoping that people can start talking about it and then having conversations. So yeah, I just want to mention that so you guys can continue.
Yeah, I'll have a story and then it's gonna lead to the question.
Mm.
So, and I heard this actually researching like just different things on AI, and there's a TED Talk, and a guy was saying a couple hundred years ago, literacy was like it wasn't mainstream. It wasn't what people tried to even achieve, right? People thought the literate people, so like the people either reading from the Bible or translating the Bible or whatnot, or the scholars, they're like those are untouchable people. Like I don't that's too much. I don't even want to, that's overbearing. But the people who were literate had an insane amount of, I don't want to say power, I'll say leverage or opportunity above someone who wasn't literate. And this is a great analogy for what AI is today. Because right now it's still in the beginning stage where people view, oh, AI, that's just overbearing. I don't need it. It's too much. But if you utilize AI, and what we're trying to also get across is it's not even as scary as you think, right? And it is extremely practical. Then now you have what the literate people hundreds of years ago had now, and you have that competitive advantage and you have that leverage over a lot of people right now because a lot of businesses do not even try to implement it.
Mhm.
Rightfully so, like Kelly said, it's their baby. Also, if you've started a business like 20 years ago, you're going to run it differently, obviously, than you do now,
Yeah.
like your strategies and whatnot. But also, that's what you know. It's what's comforting and it's what's worked so far. And I was having this argument with my friend earlier today, actually, because now he's a tow truck driver, and I was just researching some things. It was a silly argument, but I was like, AI is going to be going in that field too, right? And he's like, no, it's impossible. So I literally, the first thing I did was like, we were talking about cranes. And the first thing they're doing is they're trying to implement automated cranes. So it's not human operated.
Mhm.
Now, on their tests, they found the AI was way more efficient and whatnot. I don't know if that was biased. But even a field like that of blue collar work, you're like, what the heck? It's even coming in here. Um, so this leads to the next question of obviously I'm biased on this point, but do you see a practical use even for AI in small businesses? And is
Mhm.
that even something they should start to entertain right now?
Yeah, of
And if
course.
you have an example, then please do.
Yeah.
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 Before we answer that, I wanted to mention it because the story you just told. Uh, did you know that at some point in time we believed that books were going to ruin us, like as a human race?
Hmm.
Because when books became mainstream and people could use them and stuff like more, it was more accessible. People
Hmm.
believe that it would ruin our memories and like it would make it difficult for us to memorize stuff. So, you know, just think about how we progress. Like
That's
obviously
funny.
books are kind
Well,
of essential to
we've actually already been through this with AI before any of us were born.
yeah.
This controversy already happened. AI, machine learning was invented in the 1950s.
Yeah.
That's when they built the first chess model that used min-maxing, and it could beat most of the best chess players in the world. Also in the 1950s, they already had image recognition, and obviously everyone was paranoid. That's where a lot of those sci-fi movies from the 80s, a lot of Star Trek concepts come from. There were amazing things already
Great movie.
happening with IBM was already making breakthroughs back then. And basically all that got snuffed
Hmm.
under the rug. They call it like the AI cold winter up until now. And either it went completely underground for the government to mess with, or we just didn't have funding. Either way, people did make a big deal about it. There was hysteria that this is going to end the world. And that's where all those conspiracies in that media in the 80s come from. All the Judge
Hmm.
Dredd type movies is from the surgence of machine learning back then. But like Herman was saying in the last podcast,
Hmm.
Google's made breakthroughs with quantum computing, and
Hmm.
you now have graphics cards. Well, the RTX 4080 was like $2,000, and the 5070 is like $500, and it's like a
Yes.
hundred times more
Crazy.
powerful. So,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just saw that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
yeah,
Did you see, Jared, when they announced that and they had a notebook, that thin little mo
yeah,
notebook that they stuck that card in?
yeah. I saw that. That was
I was
crazy.
like, oh my gosh.
But I'm like, yeah, at $500, I might have to get one now. But
I know.
but the I
Yeah.
guess my point is if they hit the ceiling in the 50s, and I think
Mhm.
they decided that this can't be done. We're at the pinnacle of what can possibly be done. It stops at chess and
Mhm.
image recognition and basic logic, and then technology keeps, every year they quantify it 1,000 times more, and they're like, we didn't know this was possible, and then it happens again.
Mhm.
So I'm sure we can keep going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
to answer, oh, go ahead. I'm
no, no,
listening.
no. Well, yeah, and just like you said, Jared, because we were talking about we were just having a random chat, and we were looking at I was showing the guys some tools, AI tools that that actually are going to start replacing podcasters, and you can go ahead and start hiring these AI actors. This one company already has 300 AI actors. They produced already 5,000 some odd uh, award-winning type of advertisement ads that just pop up in your social media and stuff. And it's all AI actors. They just upload the script and a
Yeah.
couple do a little tweak, and it's like, wow, it's gone. I mean,
Yeah.
even you streamers. But I was going to share one other picture with you guys. This made me laugh because when you were saying books are going to ruin us, and I laugh. We can break this down on the call, but there's something about humanity, right? Where deep down inside they say, "Oh, humans want connection. Humans want connection." But at the same time, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed from these old pictures. Have you seen these old ones where people are on the train?
Yeah.
Yeah. and they're all nobody's talking. They're all got their head buried in newspapers.
Yep, and trends were the same. You take pictures in the 1920s, every feller's wearing a top hat and got his little cane because that's what was on TV and
Yeah.
that's what was cool. It's people
Yeah.
were no different. Everyone pulls that stuff up and they're like, "Look how classy they were." And it's
Yeah.
they're classy because the TV and the newspaper told them to wear that. And there wasn't
Yeah.
TV then, but it was the
Yeah.
trend.
But to your
Huh.
point, you're spot on there. But even the fact that you start looking at this, I'm going, wow, that doesn't look much different
Than the phone.
than everybody down in their phones. And so
Yeah.
there's something about this in front of you, right? Whether it's digital or not, there's something that the entire market is going after in the basics of marketing in itself. So Isaac, I'm sure you two have done that, had to learn that while you got your business degrees. But there's something about humanity where we just want to kind of zone out of the world around us. We want to be distracted and we want to stare at something either to manipulate, and we choose to let it manipulate our feelings. We want to feel good, we'll read the feel good stuff. We want to be angry at something, we'll just pop up one of the many news things. But we long for that, and even connection now is so difficult to break through any of this. And the only way it's like you can bridge this anymore is you have to get their attention, a message here that tells them they got to look up,
Yeah.
right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that's where you guys are going with your business, but I feel that that's almost one of those things that businesses themselves have got to figure out with all of this is,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
they've got to, and this goes for anybody, a mechanic, a plumber, an ace, whatever. You've got to be able to get your customer to go from here to look you in the eyes. Oh wait, camera's up here. Look you in the
I
No,
will,
eyes.
I
no,
will,
you.
wait, Kelly, real quick, I'm going to throw a
Yeah,
quote
go ahead,
and
go
I'll
ahead.
let you go. But yeah, my favorite quote, and it resonates perfectly with that, is the true currency or the currency of business is not money, it's attention. The currency of business is attention. And
Yeah.
that is what the modern business model is. And Kelly, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're okay. Keep that question that you just asked in mind. But no, I completely agree with your dad. I mean, oh, dude, it- it's the reason why we want to keep distracting ourselves is because it's easier that way. Is
Mm,
one thing we keep harping on with, the ITIL strategies and the overall strategies that we're trying to support is that it's hard work. Like
yeah.
to do something worth a remark, to do something worthwhile or something meaningful in the world, it's
Mhm.
hard work. And it's not easy. That's why we keep mentioning like, no, AI can't make you $1 million. AI can't do this. Because although we have tools now, you still need to add a little bit of work. And that work isn't like manual labor, it's mostly emotional labor. So the
Mm,
ability to show up and be a professional, whatever field you're in, you know what I'm saying? And
mhm,
no matter how you feel,
mm.
come and be consistent. And that's where the consistency in our TCL framework, trust, consistency, and
But
loyalty comes from. It's the ability to show up even when you don't want to, right? Because sometimes I don't feel like, I work at Walmart part-time right now. Sometimes I don't want to talk to anybody, but just because I'm around tons of people that see me, just putting on a smile, and just saying, hi, how are you? Hello, how are you doing? I don't want
mhm,
to do that, but although that's not like, I'm not like the head of Walmart, but I'm in a position where I can change somebody's day, and just putting on that smile is being consistent. Like me, how I feel in that moment is I don't want to be there, but I'll try my
mm,
best not to show that. And that's what professionals do.
mm,
Professionals show up when they don't want to. And I think that's why it's difficult to, or that's why it's easy to bury your face in, other people's lives and, well, how many likes are we getting here? Because you want that validation, makes you feel good. And
mhm.
put you're not on the hook. You have no, um, there's no responsibility.
Yeah.
We're trying to avoid responsibility, but I get it. It's hard. It's really, really hard.
Mm.
Yeah,
What
I
was
mean,
it?
we've expedited the process of convenience, or at least that's what we want. And I mean, I'm just not thinking of it. I don't know how true this is, but in my head, it's reminding me of what was the movie? Wally, where everyone was just in these chairs and they don't even have to do anything. Their entire
Hmm.
life is right there for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just pops in my head for that, but genuinely, that's where now, I'm not saying exactly that image, but I'm saying that ease of everything is where a lot of people want, and that's what sells. Convenience sells, especially in the tech industry.
Thousand
If
percent.
you can expedite a process, you're making money. If what do you think AI, a lot of AI is? You think now people can write entire papers, even though they shouldn't. You can write an entire paper in like 5 seconds. Hey, write me
Yeah.
a paper sounding like this about this. Boom.
Hmm.
And that completely expedites the process of convenience. And I think that with attention is well, not what normal people are wanting, but normal people are striving for convenience, and it's just kind of crazy to think on that path. And I think that's where like Jared was saying, the people being scared of and the fear of AI back
Mm.
in the day. Because I've heard countless comments and even read countless things about, well, like, oh, life was so much better back then. We didn't have any of these technology problems. Everyone was hanging out.
Yeah,
And,
especially when people our age, Isaac, I mean, sorry,
yeah.
your dad's a little older. No, it's just fine. But especially when people our age say stuff like, "Oh, I was born in the wrong time. I should have been born in the 40s." Absolutely not. I like my air conditioning. I like my flat screen. I like my PlayStation. I don't know what you're talking about. I like where I'm at right now because I can't imagine being anywhere else. Those newspapers couldn't be me. I need my phone. You know what I mean? I need it. I need my phone. I need the videos. It's all good. It's all
Yeah.
nice.
Wow.
I didn't mean to cut you off earlier, Dad. Were you gonna say something?
No, nothing crazy. I didn't
Well,
know if Jared has anything to throw in there too.
Everything I have to say about it's crazy, I feel like. Um,
yeah,
but so you guys are definitely business minded. It's all more about profit because that's all that's sustainable. A business can't continue to exist without it. And I think that's where the clash comes with developers and business owners. Even what I pitched to y'all when we started this call about my little AI try-on thing that's a add-on to your window or whatever you're shopping on. Y'all got me thinking about it, and it's like it's cool. It might be cool for the shopper, but is it actually going to make them any more money, or is the person just going to be like, "Well, that's cool." I mean and that's the end of it. It's hard to find the balance between what's practical and what's just there to be there. Kind of like you want to put a fancy neon sign on your business, but your customers
Mhm.
are the same customers you've always had either way. So,
Oh yeah.
I think that would work though. I think that would work.
I will say
A lot of women
some,
with it.
and especially for like the big franchises and stuff, like those aren't just, even if it's not directly profit, which is, you want that to be the main goal, but that's not the only goal. Even like I said, attention is really a big one. So
Mhm.
imagine you're coming out with this really cool thing where you just, I don't know how it works, but you can try on clothes like and legitimately see how they are. Because like I know Amazon has like see it in your room, and I don't know about you, but it never is to proportion. It's horrible. But yeah, like so something like that. I wouldn't call that a gimmick because that's beneficial in different areas. It's not, maybe not one-to-one ratioed with profit, but for someone like that, that is an extra way now you can stand out. So I wouldn't uh, derail its value just because it's not directly tied to profit. But I do think, and that's something me and Kelly have reiterated to smaller business and even mid-sized business owners, is you need to go back and stop looking at all these beautiful things or whatever you would say, like all these big dreams, and you got to really narrow down because your budget isn't Walmart's budget, it's not Amazon's budget, right? You can only allocate so much per month. And so that's when we harp on really what actually works, what actually matters, and you should
Mhm.
really be looking at those one-to-one profit ratios, and maybe a little bit further off from that, but not much more because it's not
Yeah.
beneficial. But like for you, Jared, you're pitching this to these mass or like these bigger franchises and whatnot. I don't
Mhm.
think there's no value in that for those because they're always coming out with new things that look cool. Do they directly correlate to profit? Probably not, but it gets attention and it gets more
Mhm.
customers that way.
Actually, Isaac, what you just said something perfect, and I'm gonna answer your question in a moment. But I think it's a great idea, Jared, because how many people order stuff like clothes from Amazon, get the clothes and find out that it looks
Yeah.
ugly anymore, they don't like it. So that ability to just upload yourself and see it on you, right? I think I don't see that as a gimmick. I think it's pretty practical because a lot of people would use it. So in terms
Mhm.
of like a use case, I think a lot of people would use that, and it would honestly benefit a lot of people. And
It does solve that problem. That is a big
right,
problem people have.
instead of
Yeah.
right, and Isaac's right. It's not one-to-one
Yeah.
ratio directly correlated with profits, but it
Mhm.
might give you the attention that the business, whoever's using it, it might increase the attention, which increases more people that come over, which will
Yeah.
affect um the profit.
'Cause you're talking about the clothes thing that you
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only suggestion I would give on that is make sure you have something so people can't upload themselves naked because
It does. It does.
okay,
That's yeah.
yeah.
That's just one line of code. People, if they have your code, they just get in there and remove it. But yeah, it's not
Yeah.
on there.
'Cause
Yeah,
it-
I know that's been a weird AI thing too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, people, yeah, I always laugh with oh gosh, when you go on the other sites, you can tell when somebody's doing direct distribution from, let's say, China, some of the
Yeah,
little
it's not
retail
censored
places.
near as well. So
Yeah, and so forth. But even when you go on the Amazon and you can see a direct distribution, maybe a drop ship store that's set up, and they have to put the sizes so much different. And so, people don't quite understand their own sizes. And I think that is a brilliant way to be able to like evaluate so that they can see not the pretty people that the models that are there, but actual what it will look like on them, and maybe provide them a little reality check.
yeah,
Yeah. The
Man,
For
that
what?
is yeah, that mean the
yeah,
scope of responsibility expands as the money increases. So
yeah.
like
Yeah.
as you're a small business, you probably don't have a lot of time and you have a lot of responsibilities.
Hmm.
And just because you get the term financially free is not I get a bunch of money and now I have less responsibilities unless you tactically set up your business and depending on your product, you sometimes you just can't. But unless you tactically set it up to where you won't really need to expand employee wise and like work wise, there are models for that,
Hmm.
but not every business, and I would say a majority of businesses just aren't like that. When you're scaling, it's inevitable more responsibility comes with that.
Hmm.
But as more responsibility comes with that, there's more questions and more problems that need answers. And Jared, you're answering a problem that a small retail store might not necessarily need.
Coles
A
does.
big, that's a problem that Kelly brings it up, especially like Amazon. You're right. People will
Just
get reviews. Yeah, people will get reviews saying typically fit small. What the heck does that mean? I have a problem. Yeah, like I
Yeah.
have a problem fitting in a lot of clothes just because the way I'm built, I guess.
yeah,
You're
same
like
Yeah.
here.
you were like an extra small. What are you talking about?
No, because I'm short, but I guess I'm a little stocky. So I'm literally having my range is like from smalls to larges, depending on the brand, and it's just funny, right? But if I can have an AI thing like that, that does solve a problem.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I did think it is cool.
Yeah, in terms of scaling though, when you have a product, it's so much easier to scale because
Hmm.
you don't need to be there to do the thing, right? When you have a service, you don't have you only have a limited amount of time, and then your personal like health, the amount of energy you have is so limited. So you're trying to mix a limited resource with another limited resource, time and energy. So you can't scale that very well, right? You need to invite more people in to help you scale that. But in terms of a product, you can scale that to the moon and whatnot. So
Oh yeah.
I think you have everything in place to, you know,
Yeah. I
reap the benefits if you do it correctly. I don't know what your plans are, but no, that's an amazing idea. I think it solves a direct problem. Yeah.
Well, and it solves the other because small businesses. Okay, so Amazon, they get so many returns. They have the ability to turn to roll it around, but they have so much money flushing in. Smaller businesses, smaller retail stores, every step is money, and every return and restock and all of that, it costs them money. And so, like Jared's product is can be marketed to the smaller retails stores simply, hey man, imagine if you could reduce your restock and your return policy where you have to give them and pay for the postage and all of this stuff that comes back, and you just keep and you have to do a refund on that. You're actually losing money on a regular basis for these type of things.
Yeah.
And so if you're saying I can reduce that, so if it's small retail, I can reduce your annual returns by an estimated 5K, right? Which, for Amazon, they're like, we spit 5K in the toilet every day. I said spit. Okay. But small businesses, that 5K can make or break, a monthly operational expense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love it. I love the whole idea behind it.
I do too. Can I invest?
For sure. I mean, with me, it's just trying to find the balance between what will make the profit off the baseline it's going to cost. Because obviously, the more it's used, the more it's going to cost. So it would have to be balanced. If we had a fixed rate going to a company, it would have to be balanced to where if too many people use it, we're not losing a lot of money because they used it so much. And
Mhm.
um,
It
I think
depends
it'd be
on,
a harder sell if we just because you know how a lot of the online AI apps, if you want to generate images, they'll say like, well, you can buy our token package or whatever
Yeah.
and generate on our engine. I don't know if that would be a route to go for it, or if it would be better to work with small businesses. And like
Yeah.
I said, that because the business is going to have a baseline, they have to pay me every month. That's
That's
where I
a
get into,
monthly retainer. Yeah, that's
yeah,
most.
Mhm.
is it going to be even for them to make a profit? That's where my real balance for it comes
Yeah.
off, or is it going to
It just
push their product more? Or
Yeah, it just depends what the value you bring. So if you're saving them tons of money, then them coughing up like whatever the amount is, right? A
Mhm.
higher per month
A
pack.
higher ROI,
Yeah,
honestly.
if they're getting a return on their investment, if they're coughing up a higher like monthly payment, I don't think they'll care. Like so if you're making somebody $10,000, you ask for I don't know 800 a month. I don't think they're gonna care because
Yeah, and they won't because again, if you're looking at the model of they're spending, 5,000, right? Any reduction in expense is a benefit to them, right?
yeah,
And especially, and if you're saving them more. So if they're producing like a t-shirt company, right? You go to some of these t-shirt companies and this kind of thing. Um, they sometimes have these one-offs, something that's just unique to what they do or what they sell, and that would benefit them greatly if people are not returning their product that they've already spent so much time in because they'll say, oh, well, we have a restocking fee. Well, that restocking fee doesn't take care. If they don't have to do a restocking fee, if they can get the straight profit right up, then that's going to help them significantly
yeah.
annually at least on their budget. So
Isaac, I think you should ask your question again. We completely ignored that
No,
question.
I mean we went over it. It was really just is it practical for small businesses to even use AI, and we've answered it a lot.
Mhm.
And Jared, I'll close this little portion of it on yeah about the when you said the AI like the apps or whatever charging for token packages. I have a stupid silly story because um like I was just messing around. So like there's an AI on that on the Play Store, and it's like see what you'll look like in 70 years. And I was
yeah,
like there was like five or six. There was like those. There's like, see what your baby will look like. See what whatever. And literally every single one of those apps I clicked, as soon as you log in, you get to create your thing. It makes you take pictures or whatever. And then it's like, start your free trial. And I'm like, what am I paying for here? And then
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like they have it. So I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, and
I'm
you got to pay for them because they're using API calls, so they're not even free for the developer to have on the store. If you're using it, it costs somebody money. So,
that that makes sense. I just thought it was
and
funny
yeah,
because I was just trying to see what I look like as a 70-year-old man, and I'm having to pay like
yeah, everybody's done
yeah,
that at
it's
this
like five
point.
dollars a week. I'm like, all right, never mind. I
The
don't get
guys
it.
who pioneered that made bank that first week
Oh,
until
I
everyone kind
bet,
of
I
caught
bet.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah, and now it's all these knockoffs. Yeah, it was funny. Um,
yeah. Anytime I want to look younger, I just take off my glasses and look in the mirror. Then I look younger to myself. Yeah.
um, I'll move to this portion of the podcast, and this can either be the last one or if there's more that sponsor it, that's awesome. But this is kind of this is where it can get kind of fanciful because this is
Fanciful.
I want to ask what do you like this is future oriented, right? What do you think the future of AI now we can start with small businesses mid. We can even talk about just in general,
Mhm.
because I know Jared probably has and my dad especially has like some cool ideas of whatnot. But
Mhm.
what do you think the future of AI looks like? We'll even say within the next 5 to 10 years. And yeah, I mean, you can apply this to business if you want. But yeah, what do you think kind of the future is looking like?
I'll let you go with it. You can run with it, Jared. I
I
have a
guess
couple
I'll
of things I was going to bring up, but I'll wait till Jared goes.
sure. I don't have much to say. I think the people in charge of this, they're going to put everything into it because they're competing with China. And a lot of that is going to be showing off to investors. So, the first stages we're going to see is the customer service type stuff, automation of everything, fast food, any of that stuff is probably all going to be automated by 2030. At least I think that's their goal. And that's to show off enough to get everybody to invest in it, all the
Mhm.
big hedge funds and everything who are already heavily invested in it, but they're trying to make it the main priority of everything. Basically, everything comes down to that, and all the knowledge and information is already uploaded. You don't need a person's brain for it. We're pretending we need to drain some more brains, but most of the useful information for this stuff is already out there, or it
Yeah,
can just be taken from China. So
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my theory on it.
And I just pulled this up, Dad, then I'll let you answer. So the market size is expected to grow of AI is expected to grow like 27.67% yearly until 2030. Currently, it's at like 184 billion US dollars in 2024, and it's supposed to be by 2030 $826 billion. So obviously, there's going to be a lot of growth. But yeah, Dad, I'll let you kind of go off of what you were gonna say.
So yeah, man, and the problem is there's we already talked about it about distractions, right? People want to be distracted. Um, People pretend they want to be informed. They just all they want is information. They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to process information. And we got two different pieces. We got the technical side. We got or multiple pieces, not just two. You got the technical side, you have the analytics side that's happening, you have the services side, you have the entertainment side. It's all insane. It's all insane. I think I'm just going to go ahead and throw a couple of things why this is all we have to adapt. Small biz, everyone has to adapt to this, but we need to learn as much because it will make us all stupid if it's going to be Idiocracy is what it's going to be, the movie, if we're not
That's
careful.
a good
And I'll
movie.
show
If
you
you haven't
why.
seen it, go watch it.
Idiocracy. Let me show you this. So there's a couple of shameless little plugs I'm going to do in here, right?
Okay, I thought you were going to show a clip of Idiocracy. I was like, oh man.
No, no. But check this out. Maybe this will play. I don't know. This is scary. Tell me if you can hear it.
We can't hear it, but we can see it.
You can't hear that?
No, but it's okay.
This is using this all of these tools. It's actually a great story. It's a scary good.
Wow.
I wish you could hear it.
I'm sure it's a little better than complete silence.
Yeah. So if you go look, just do yourself a favor, and I won't go too far into it, but it's the cradle will fall, I think is what they called it. Newton's cradle. Yeah, the Newton's cradle symbolizes da 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 da. But this whole thing is done all in AI now. This was not possible 365 days ago, not to this level, right?
Yeah, so no
And
CGI or anything. That's all just AI generated.
technically, it would all be
I
CGI,
guess, yeah, computer generated.
right?
But yeah,
Yeah,
like I
and
was
you
saying,
look,
there was an artist drawing this up, and
yeah,
then this is all wow.
yeah, but it was all based off of all of these different tools, and even the narrative voice and stuff like that. It's really insane what it's doing. So just entertainment wise, I think I can't remember the statistic, but every day, and this was only months ago, every day more AI generated pictures, just photos, images, were generated every day than what is possibly able for the entire human population to ever consume. And it's daily that, and now exponentially because all of these extra things are out there. So one of the pieces, entertainment and distraction, is we have to remember that our brains are being dumbed down overall. We have to stay engaged. We have to know, and we have to be able to differentiate between what's real and what's not. And it's getting scary as far as that goes, because I've showed you the tools where that had all the AI agents and those things, right? That you cannot distinguish any of these from normal social media content. Um, one guy, I don't know the guy. I love following the guy. And so I'll do a, so if
Yeah.
Matt Farmer AI, if this guy ever reaches out to you, we gave a shameless plug. I love his reviews. I
Shout
love
out
what
Matt Farmer.
yeah, yeah, Matt Farmer. And his reviews, I subscribe to him all the time, and it is phenomenal. He goes through all the newest things, and he keeps, like, for example, he had one in here, and Jared, you might have even heard about it, but he said, "Hey, are you aware that this week Meta just happened to drop Nemotron? Do you remember Nemotron, which had started outperforming when it came to coding and logic, outperforming and not only 4.0 GPT 4.0, but even Claude?" And I was like, "What?" And I was starting to little things like that, and it's so nice to be able to keep up it on a regular basis with what's being dropped. And Matt Farmer does a phenomenal job of calling that out, what's new that week and what items. And then if there isn't any new items, then he'll go back and do these. But he does some high level tests and lets you know how to go get them. And then the last part, I was just going to do show you something that uh, where that balance comes in. So Jared was making a great point earlier about the tools that how much investment there is to fight content, AI generated content. And and what's funny is on the other side of that is there's a whole market of people making that now you can go in and find tools that they're trying to make the tools better so it can outwit the AI detection stuff. It's an endless cycle. It's kind of funny, but at the end of the day, the way I use AI business wise, because I don't have to get into the really dirty side that of AI that Jared does, but I use it because I need to be faster in what I produce with my, and I need to get what's in my brain out there faster than anything. So you end up with really great tools like I think I told you guys Napkin AI is in beta right now. And what I did is I'm doing two additional plugs here. I get nothing for these. But back in the day, I had let me look. Yeah, there was a book a friend of mine told me to read, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It was called The Fourth Turning. And it talk just go read it and you'll see that history repeats itself. So remember we talked earlier about the guys on the train reading newspapers and all of that kind of thing. And go read The Fourth Turning or just go get the high level notes on it. But it is spot on to see how each one of these generations that we have is going through these things. And so the people that will benefit the most from all this AI, we're right in the midst of it, is in the middle of this generation. But when we get to that next generation, because again, it builds a great case that history repeats itself and all of these turnings in history will keep going over and over. Uh, and if we get to that point, that means once our generation is done with all the great stuff of AI, then the future, your grandchildren, Isaac and Jared already has kids, so his grandchildren too are going to be hosts. My great grandchildren are going to be either fully rejecting everything that we're having because we're technically in this fourth turning, which is a crisis of where things are just kind of a major crisis reshapes society, often involving war, revolution, and systematic collapse. Oh, wow. Right. That's kind of where we are. And then when it comes back, again, uh, we may, society will come back together after this, after whatever the collapse. Society keeps going, but read it. It's a phenomenal thing. And the reason I did this plug is I couldn't think of a better way to say how would I explain each one of these steps. And so if I go over to a napkin, I just took all of those notes, dropped it in napkin, and napkin is something I can use as a speed to market for visualizations, right? So for example, I dropped in the content, nothing fancy about it, but now I need to put my thoughts together. And I do this with all kinds of stuff because I have to get these thoughts out, but I don't have time to spend too much time on graphics. And so over here, I'm like, hey, I really need to come up with something useful on this to explain what these principles look like. So in the yeah, the first turning, right? And so these are the key points that come out of it, and then I can just real fast, boom, I got my graphic, and then I can start walking through each one of these key things. And then like the second one here, I'm like, oh man, what do I do? So the AI is going out and is taking the content. It's going out through some really key pieces. And let's say this one looks, somewhat cool. But what it does is the AI also goes out now, and the AI, notice it says spiritual revival. So it happened to bring up a cross emblem, right? Questioning norms and all of the, and I can go in and I can edit this even further if I want to change something. But you get the idea, right? Is that you get all of these pieces, and it's a speed to market. It's taking what's in my brain and getting it out here so I can do it quickly and professionally. It doesn't have to be perfect, but then I can get it out there before my customers or my investors and things like that. So the AI piece here, I think the right balance, the future of it is learning to, first of all, how, not necessarily accept it. We shouldn't accept it without any boundaries. We should always question it. We should always have critical thinking around how we use and apply AI. But how does it make us more productive so we can then spend time on the things we really are passionate about? How do we get time back, right? And
Clip
I think
that.
that's where it goes from. Yeah.
Yeah, clip that. That's exactly what we're trying to use AI for, or AI or automation for. How can we use it in a way to give humans more time to be human?
hmm Yeah.
because there are things that need to be done within a business that you just can't ignore because that's just how things work. So how can you get um a robot or a system to do that for you so you can focus on doing what humans do best, which is
Oh, yeah.
connecting and talking to each other and things of that nature. And we mentioned like, blue collar jobs and stuff like that, right? It's
Yeah.
gonna eventually affect that. I had a class with Isaac, what's your teacher's name? Paiseki?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I had a class, the fourth industrial revolution, which is, I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is the fourth industrial revolution by Klaus Schwab. And that's what we were
Mhm.
talking about within that class. Like, AI and this turn of the century is the fourth industrial revolution, and how we're able to take advantage of, robots and AI and things like that. And what we came up with in that class is if you can get AI and robots to do the nitty-gritty dangerous things like building skyscrapers so that
Yeah.
humans can stay safe, that's a good way to use it. But when you have something like this, like AI is great, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be some great people that are going to do some great things with it. But there's going to be some people that are do some really, really bad things with it too. It happened with the internet, and it happened with
Mhm.
other things that came out before that. So the idea is that, when it comes to the future, there are going to be some great things that are going to be created. There's going to be tons of jobs that are going to come out from this, but there's going to be some losses too, and there's going to be some bad things that are going to come out of this. But if you can focus on using it for yourself, because there's going to be two people in the future. There's going to be people that work for AI and people that use AI or have AI work for them. So
Mhm.
the question is, how are you going about using AI and trying to get it to work for you? And within business, I think the best way to do it is find the I was listening to something earlier, and it was about Jeff Bezos actually. And when he was creating Amazon, the question he or like the statement he made is
Sorry, I like what you said. I was going, maybe I'll give him a reaction.
yeah. So when Bezos was, starting Amazon, one of the biggest things he said is to focus on things that are always going to be relentlessly true. So what
Mhm.
what are the things that are just always going to be true? And his thing with Amazon was people are always going to want things more convenient. The more convenient, the better. So we're talking
Mhm.
about that. That's kind of ironic, right? But
Yeah.
now going into the future, what are the things that, businesses, I think this is a question that business owners should start, and business in general should just start asking, what are the things
Yeah.
about humans and about just make inferences. What are things that are gonna just continuously be true, that stay true, that test the test of time, that stay true till this day, and are probably gonna stay true in the future. And I think one of the biggest ones is, human connection. Um, and I won't go into like what we do, but just specifically that. So how can you use these artificial tools and AI and things like that to enhance that for you, or to give you more time to focus on those things, because
Yeah.
that's what's going to enhance your business. That's what's going to further you into the future as we go further and further, because there's going to be people that are going to use it to try to overhaul their whole business. Yeah, yeah, you just you have the AI work for you. I sit at home and make money, and then that's gonna quickly go from AI right now as a feature, but it's going to quickly not become a feature. It's just going to become part of everything, right? So like when electricity first came out, that was like a feature. Like, you get a house, if you were able to afford it, you could get it. But now that's like, I need electricity. What are you talking about? Like, you
If you take it to Elon's perspective, he wants that to be a feature of people. You go into the
Yeah.
implementation of
yeah,
Neuralink and
Yeah.
the implication. So
Yeah.
you're going to be talking to people with Chat GPT in their brain,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
they're going to be the smartest guy in the world.
heck no.
Or
Yeah.
you're going to be playing a video game, and this dude can hit everyone's heads no matter where he is
I've
with his
seen
Yeah.
that.
Neuralink in his head.
Have
So
you seen
Yeah.
that video,
yeah,
Kelly?
No, bro.
Yeah.
Someone had Neuralink connected to, oh, what game was it, Jared? Do you remember? It was a shooter. It was the
I
first.
Fortnite or
You can
something like
It
feel
was
it?
that. I don't know that. I'm just
yeah,
making stuff up.
it
I
was
wasn't
no.
rough.
I've actually seen a video.
Yeah.
Enter the Duty Connect. Gosh, it might have been Siege, Rainbow Six. But I'm not 100%. But yeah, he was Neuralink connected, and dude, instantaneously just headshots because it's wherever you look, it's wherever your brain imagines it to be. That's where the crosshair goes. It was insane.
Oh, like he had aimbot.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because you don't use your hands. You're just looking
He's
at the
using his
screen,
eyes.
absolutely obliterating everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was, from what I could understand, because it went down for a little bit. And this is what I found most interesting, and to what Jared, it's funny. It's like, it's really sad when something so serious is so scary. It's actually really funny, right?
Yeah.
Because you nailed it spot on. It's like, wow. But when his Neuralink first came in, the first guy, and it went down, he was it was a hard adjustment for him. No different when you lose your phone, right? And you don't have your phone and it breaks and you get your whole world on your phone and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do, right? And now, in all fairness, I think the first Neuralink guy was he is a paraplegic, right? I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when he's playing, he was even saying there were times it was doing things before his brain could even process that he was doing it, right? That's how fast it was interfacing. It's insane. So
Yeah.
before he could even complete, you internalize a thought,
Yeah.
it had already done what he had asked, and that's how fast it was moving. So and Jared's right. You're going to be talking to somebody with GPT in their head.
Yeah, your memory will
And
be infinite. Dang,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it
but
might as well be androids, instead of people. If everyone's going to have a Neuralink in their head at a certain point, you might as well just be talking to robots at that rate.
and
Oh,
this is that, and it's sad because when I say fanciful, the word means like unimaginable, like it's not actually attainable. But that's not true. I mean, we're talking about something that could be real in the
Oh,
next
yeah, the
five to 10 years.
investments in Neuralink right now are insane.
Yeah, and
They're
oh,
hiring for this level of development in Austin right now.
yeah, no, it's
So
crazy.
I
I
don't know. I don't know I don't know why humans want to why that amazes us so much. I guess it's the
Well,
movies,
the
the
selling points too are like you won't have to worry about why can I not think of that? Dementia. Like it'll fix dementia. It supposedly fixes any like neurological problems like that. Like it you won't have those anymore with this.
Yeah. So can we use it in a way where we can just fix that instead of trying to make us robots? Like, come on now, let's be
yeah.
Well, because why would you stop there though? That's like the question of
I
humans.
think
right.
if it's in your head, it's not up to you anymore. If it's already put in your head and it's a license to
Yeah.
Neuralink or Elon Musk,
I'm
it's
about to
over.
say, so Elon owns your brain now? Like, come on,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Basically, yeah.
And that is the common argument against it for sure. I've looked a
Yeah.
little bit into Neuralink and I watched the whole interview of the first guy who's had it implemented.
Mhm.
Obviously, he's like, "Oh, this is the best thing I've ever had," and he is paraplegic, so he really can't do much. But he's well, that sounded mean, but like, there's not a lot of things he can do now because of his uh
Mhm.
his place in his life. But and then
Yeah.
he's saying this is the best thing that ever happened, but it's
Right.
like I don't know. I kind of want to, Dad, while you're looking at this, I do want to.
Okay. I just
I'll let you
wanted to
answer this
plug
real quick.
this because Jared, when you said that, I don't know why, but Keanu Reeves has already predicted this in 1995. Just so you
Yeah.
know.
This is
Yeah.
relevant. Have y'all played Cyberpunk 2077
I
or
played a
seen the
little
show?
bit.
No, no,
So,
no. This
n-
was Johnny Mnemonic from.
no, I,
Yeah.
I know. It's the same concept
Yeah.
though.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm telling them the concept of net runners who basically have hacks to the firmware. That's what
Yeah.
you're going to have if you got Neuralink in your head, a net runner blow your
Yeah.
brain up because he has the
Exactly.
firmware codes. Like,
What's funny? This is how a lot of this is scary, perfect, exactly what we're talking about. But the other side didn't age well because I think in the thing he's a data courier and he has to replace part of his memories with this data. But they said how much memories or how much memory did you have to give up? He said 10 gigabytes or something like that. I was like, yeah, I think I have text messages. I have pictures larger than 10 gigabytes. So anyway, I just thought that was funny. Yeah, Keanu Reeves, he was there in 1995. He's part of the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Dang it, Keanu. No, I'm playing.
Hey, 10
Um,
gigabytes was a lot back then, though.
yeah.
It
Yeah,
was.
that's like your whole world and more, and yeah. Um,
Yeah.
on my I guess you would say prediction. Um, and it kind of Kelly touched a lot of them, but I think there's gonna be a lot of good and a lot of bad for sure.
Yeah.
Now these are my what I guess I would say non just business answers. So yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of good and a lot of bad.
Mhm.
And and I know this for a fact because like we literally discussed like 30 minutes ago on this podcast,
Mhm.
humans don't change. We don't really change. The human condition has always been pretty much the same. I know you can go back to years and years, like hundreds of years ago and go like, oh, those people were dumb and whatnot, but
Mhm.
we would probably be the same exact things. We're just provided different context,
Mhm.
contextual factors in our life. Like we have technology now. Imagine what the kids after us are gonna have. They're gonna think we're the slowest people ever, especially if they're all androids. They're gonna like, you can't calculate X, Y, Z in 0.1 second. You're stupid. Like that. So like, you know what I mean? Um, but anyways, there's a lot of good and bad, and the
Yeah.
human condition just doesn't change.
Yeah.
Um, the next thing I want to touch on is I don't know, pertaining to the next 5 to 10 years, I don't know how far we can truly go though, because like I said, now this is a business answer, because I don't know when the shift between needing human interaction and not needing interaction is going to be a thing, because I do know it sounds weird, but they're making like robot girlfriends that you can just
Yeah.
keep in your house and that's your wife. And I know in China and stuff, you can legally marry things. Like you can marry a pillow and that's
Yeah.
legalized.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
That's
serious.
true.
I know
Yeah.
more people whose lives involve talking to nobody other than on text on Discord
Yeah.
than I do people who live in the real world now. And apparently that's 10 times the problem in Japan, China, Korea, um,
Yeah. And
even
you
some
think of
place
it,
parts of
if you can customize something and you can
Mhm.
have it and all it is just positive reinforcement for you, that's like in simple terms, it's like winning the lottery over and over and over and over because it's just consistently giving you dopamine, right? For these
I
people.
that's just those are just bad behaviors, you know. You learn that as a little kid as you grow up, right? These are just individuals that have, you know, low self-esteem and stuff like that, right?
I mean, but
But
that's
that's a
also the thing. It's
learned,
a huge
right? That's a
population. Yeah.
Right, right. So that's a learned behavior. So it starts with the children. Like you got to teach your kids, like, you know, you're worth something. You don't need to be behind a screen. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, I'm agreeing with you. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
We just spent a couple years on a college campus. You don't know how many people have low self-esteem. And it's crazy because all you're thinking is, what does this person think about me? And somebody's probably looking at me thinking what I'm thinking about them. I'm thinking about what I'm about to go eat. I'm thinking about, you know what I mean?
that's social media. Everyone needs approval, and maybe they didn't get the approval they needed at home or whatever it is. That's what everyone's seeking. And if they can't get that approval, they accept defeat and default to the bedroom, is how I see it.
1,000%. And it's the
And
same thing we were talking about earlier. Why do people want to be distracted so much? Because
yeah.
they think their lives suck. Because you're looking at LeBron James, you're thinking he has the best life ever. Who cares about LeBron? You have the
Yeah.
best life ever. You're
Yeah,
alive.
he's
Um,
crying half the time I see him. So all that money and he's still crying.
That's what
well,
I'm
that is, yeah, I
saying.
mean,
And that's the consensus. And that's the consensus I see from people that I watch online that know very, very wealthy people. They say they're the most miserable people in the world because they're so fixated on numbers and having one more dollar, you know, and I heard this before. I said that people that are in the billionaires space, right? They get their days ruined because they're not number one on Forbes top 100, whatever, five, whatever that is, right? Like if you're not number one, your day's ruined because you don't have the biggest shot. You don't have come on, bro. Like what are we doing?
well,
Yeah.
it goes back to the human condition of always wanting more. Now I'm sure people come to varying conclusions on why that is. Um, but yeah, so the kind of going back to that on my predictions, I don't know when the shift of not needing human interaction is going to be mainstream and a thing. I would hope not anytime soon. If it were to happen, it'd probably happen in my lifetime for sure. Most likely, my dad, you're not even that old, but definitely in your lifetime too. So,
Hey, what? I can't hear you.
I
No,
no, I
wrong.
think we're on the cusp of it. I
yeah,
think everyone in the industry with money, all the biggest players in the world, are preparing for it, and
yeah,
that they all seem to believe it's about to happen.
and
So, and technology kind of implies like the quantum abilities of Google now. And unlike OpenAI, Google's not hurting for money. OpenAI is losing money. Google's got so much money to play with this now,
yeah.
Yeah.
and they're getting serious about it.
So we'll see. But in terms of business, I wouldn't say within the next 5 to 10. I can look back on this 5 years from now and go like, what was I saying? But
Uh,
I don't know if it's going to be completely eradicated from business. I still think that it's going to hold value in business, human interaction.
Yeah, I
But
don't I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna go away because with the increase of less interaction, and people are gonna desire more
yeah,
interaction. So this it's just gonna be this like this shift where like everybody wants convenience. As soon as we get all the convenience, everybody's gonna want
yeah,
interaction and connection.
I would
So
agree.
so that's what
Well,
so that's the inference we're betting on. And saying if you build a
yeah.
foundation based on that, come on, man.
Yeah,
I,
Nothing
and
else.
I would actually, I might have to just drive up there and beat you with the stick, son. No, I'm joking. You did. What you're saying is very 100% accurate for a certain portion of the population. So you have to think societies that the more advanced societies certain cultural groups get, the faster they are to destroy themselves and to essentially get through the the catastrophe, like in the fourth turning, right?
yeah,
So let's take low tech groups. And part of that's going to come from these generations in these different tech areas and cultures and advanced societies. So you get, for example, here where the hustle and bustle and the parents that were focusing so much on work, and every kid was given a phone when they're 5 and they're already socially removed and so forth. But that is such a small population of the entire world, right? I mean, in all fairness, and you have certain culture groups, like Spanish culture groups or Indian culture groups that are really family and culture oriented, that phone, they've already have a long history of keeping their whole family not nucleus, nuclear family together in those cultures. Those are the ones that won't change with that family. They'll have struggles with their kids and how technology is there, but at the end of the day, they love that interaction, right? And they love that closeness. Did we lose Jared? I guess
yeah.
We
yeah.
He
lost.
might. We are going kind of long, but I will also my third prediction, and you're right,
Yeah.
Dad. That is true. It is.
Yeah.
It's on your
Yeah.
it's on your
Sure.
values and who you are.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that in like Kelly, I'm on board. I think it's almost like the yin and yang thing, right? Because you see with COVID was a great example how everything was just forced and put online and our lives of
Mhm.
interaction were limited. And now everyone's having a bunch of problems and everyone's like now they're like incentivizing people to come back to workplaces. So I don't think um in within the next 5 to 10 years or so, the human interaction is going to be eradicated. But what I am very confident in, and I have a good reason to be so,
Mhm.
is that employees wise, I think AI agents are going to be the new thing. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are going to lose their jobs, uh, especially if you're working for maybe like if like Kelly was saying last podcast, if the work you're doing is really just mediocre, and like you were saying, Dad,
Average.
yeah,
Average.
yeah.
Average.
Um, yeah, if the work you're doing is really only mediocre, or if you're not adding any unique value to the company, that means you can be replaced. And so I think AI agents are going to be a huge thing. I looked it up. And so obviously AI can recognize patterns and things like this, but what an AI agent does is on top of the collection of data, it can then make decisions, learn from the interactions, and it can operate without the human oversight. And it can do everything from content generation, automated trading, network monitoring, smart home automation, like a whole bunch of list of things. So now it's taking an information, which it does now, but doing tasks with it. And I think that is going to be a huge change to society. And you're already seeing a lot now with, if you just go on YouTube Shorts, the amount of AI just spam that is out there. Most shorts now are just I mean, we're kind of, it's a little bit hypocritical because I'm using it to help make my shorts, but some people are just fully, they don't
Yeah,
even care, they don't even look at it. Copy, paste, boom, post like
yeah.
15, whatever. So yeah, I think that's going to be a big change.
Yeah.
No, it is. But I think it's been so gradual. Do you remember the original Rock eating spaghetti, the Rock eating spaghetti, uh, stable diffusion video that originally came out? Do y'all remember that one? Yeah, okay. Because here's the thing, and this is why that's why like Matt Farmer that I was saying subscribe to. It's such a gradual fade in how they're doing that. Rock eating spaghetti. Um, golly, this was so messed up. I'll I think I think this is it. This was so y'all saw the video I played just earlier in the thing that you couldn't tell. It was like this is phenomenal. But I think was this it?
Rock eats rocks.
Okay. So this is okay. This is AI, right?
Yeah.
This is when was this one? This one was uploaded in 2024, okay? And this is actually pretty close to where it was. Now we go back and let's
Why
say
was that in the toilet?
you saw that. Yeah, eating it out of the toilet. But they had one, and I'm trying to find the original because I think you saw this. This was Will Smith eating spaghetti. This is what AI was just I mean, a year ago, right?
Yeah, that's scary.
23. Look at that. Okay, April 1st, 2023, right? This was the Will Smith eating spaghetti.
Sorry if we
And
scarred anybody watching this.
yeah, and then they kept doing these over, and it was like, oh my gosh, we have nothing to fear with AI, right? That was just okay. Well, a little more than a year ago, right? So think about how far all of that has come from that to what you saw the Rock eating spaghetti. I don't even know. I think now they redid the Rock. Yeah, I guess the Rock's just eating rocks here. I don't know. Yeah, now he's just playing with spaghetti. Go figure. Okay, this was one of the older ones, May 18th. That was May 18th, 2024.
These are
Okay.
disturbing.
Yeah. And now you look at this,
I mean, it's a lot better. I
a
don't
lot better. And
know
it's
where the
starting to get,
toilet came from, but
you know what? It still hallucinates on a regular basis. But yeah, what is the rock? It's just chopping up rocks and eating. Oh my gosh.
that is
I'm telling you.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
So
uh,
anyway, that's all I'm saying is it's gonna sneak up. It already has snuck up on us. Just in a year, this is the quality that's happened.
Yeah.
And Jared mentioned earlier, yeah, the people want it to succeed, and people with lots of money want it to succeed. And so yeah, I think that's the piece. But unfortunately, just because society progresses doesn't mean it's getting better, right? That's all.
yeah, no, that's a great kind of concluding point.
That's a
Um,
great. I think so too.
Yeah.
It
Um,
started with toilets.
it's
No.
it's been a
Um,
it's been a long video. Does anyone have any final thoughts, or else we'll go ahead and wrap it up here?
Yeah, the only thing I needed to correct on me, because the trolls will hurt my feelings in their comments. They'll say, "What's this old guy?" Okay, I got a correction. Johnny Mnemonic was not 10 gigabytes. It was 80 gigabytes.
Ah, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So
And
almost as much as a phone nowadays.
yeah, yeah, exactly. 80
my
gigabytes.
phone comes with
And
256.
yeah,
Yeah, some phones do
exactly.
have that high. Yeah,
There's like terabyte as many
My
yeah.
my
SD cards.
iPad is 1 terabyte.
Yeah. But he does upgrade it later in the show. So he gets a total of 320 gigabytes,
There
but
we go.
not a
Now we're
terabyte.
talking.
Yeah. So for the
Got
trolls,
nothing on my iPad.
That is funny. Well, guys, thank you so much. If you stuck around this far, it means a lot. Thank you guys again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you came this far and you still haven't decided you've liked this. Well, I mean, I guess thank you for coming this far, but again, it would mean a lot to like and subscribe. And I guess we've kind of concluded the AI. I'm not saying we're never talking about AI again. It's going to be a reoccurring, yep, there you go, Dad, a reoccurring topic, especially with future guests and whatnot. But again, thank you so much for watching. Kelly, any last words?
Uh, I don't know. We went on so long that we lost one, but it's okay.
and then there
Along
were
the way.
three.
Yes, and
Then
then
there were
there's
three.
three. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
How did you get out?